Helen Broughton on Ellerslie. I just want come forward, Helen. You're obviously acutely aware of what can be said in open meeting, aren't you? Cool. Okay.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak to you. I felt it was important I did come and address some of the issues which are the background to the formation of the Ellerslie Flower Show. I'm the only councillor, I don't think there's a councillor here, who was aware of the background. I was elected to council in 2001, and at that point the council was very keen to establish a garden show, and there were two reasons. One is because Christchurch is the garden city, and it seemed important that we had the garden show for New Zealand. And the second reason is that council at that stage had a wish to have 4 major iconic events. One in summer, which became the AMP, I won't say AMP, the show. One in autumn, which was the Ellerslie Flower Show. Again, the dates are a bit not quite right, but then you go, that was the theory. The winter one was the Antarctic Festival, and the summer one, Buskers. Sorry, haven't got those in quite the right order, but that was the intent of the council at that point. And a garden festival trust was formed in about 2002. I wasn't directly involved with it, and in 2004, as you all know, we took away committees, which in my view, as you know, is the wrong thing to do, and I'm very pleased you have them back. But council worked between 2001 and 2007 on trying to establish a garden show through the establishment of a garden festival trust. And there were a lot of difficulties in that trust, and I think that at one stage there was mediation. But at the end of the day, nothing came of that, and 500,000 had been spent. And that actually sticks in my gullet, the 500,000. 500,000 and no show. So after the election of Bob Parker in 2007, within about 2 months, this proposal came to council. Councillor Johansson was on the council then, and council unanimously approved it, or approved it bar one councillor, who would have been Councillor Johansson. I recall his concerns at the time. Now, there was not enough financial analysis on the proposal, in my view, and I'm normally known, as people who've worked with me known, for sending things back if there's not detailed analysis. On this occasion, I was one of the ones who voted for this, and this was really because of the history. I felt we just had to take a ready-made show with a ready-made contractor if we wanted to have a garden show. We couldn't. The council as a whole had failed with that previous attempt. So I guess what I'm saying is that if you decide not to continue with this show in some form, I think you're going to have difficulties getting it re-established. The history would show that it will become a problem if you don't continue in some way with this show as it is. I do have a personal view, which I've circulated to people as a possible suggestion, is that maybe you broaden the show, and maybe there's a food and wine show in early April which is run with a private contractor. Maybe there's discussions to combine it. So you have a garden show which also has Canterbury food and wine. So all I'm saying is that I think you need to look carefully at what the show has achieved. It has got up and running, and to be just aware of the history of trying to establish a garden show through a garden festival trust. So that's really all I have to say. Yeah.
the events plan for the council come up with the 4 seasons, summer, winter, autumn, spring. And I know some of the conversations in my prior to coming onto council with regards through my events with regards to Canterbury and Christchurch being a winter playground with skiing, etc.
Yes.
But it just seemed to me, and I'd love to hear your opinion on it. We now have a excuse me, a winter festival in spring. We now have a garden festival in autumn, and A&P show is not a council event, although the Cup and Show Week, which is absolutely fantastic, is a family of racing and other events that is assisted through council. But it's really dangerous when an organisation or a company, whatever, has an original vision and it adjusts slightly, and we end up with something else. So we've got a winter festival in spring, a garden festival in autumn. And I have to say that Sydney has just been promoting its new garden festival in September, which is again is spring. So I'd just like your feedback on that, how it seems off track.
So who's promoting it?
Sydney.
Sydney.
It's across the ditch.
Yeah, it's across the ditch.
Big place, got a big bridge. Yeah. Lovely flowers.
Well, I think those seasons have got somewhat, have changed too. I mean, I think you've changed the Ellerslie Flower Show, bringing it forward in the year.
We're only taking a couple of weeks.
It's very close to buskers. I think there are some issues, but I don't think one can set that. I think you've got the concept's right, and I don't think it matters too much that the dates don't quite fit.
What about?
I think you've got to actually get 4 really important festivals, and I would see this garden festival, if it can be done without too much loss to council, or maybe council changes its approach to it and says, look, we will fund it. I mean, I'm just saying that I think it's important to keep it if that's feasible, and you'll have other things in PX to discuss. Yes. Yes.
Thank you. Helen, when you looked at these festivals, aligning them with seasons, was there any consideration given to, and I know things have changed since the earthquakes, any consideration given to hospitality, shoulder seasons, accommodation, assisting that with having a festival at a time that would be considered a low season, or was that not part of the consideration?
No, I think it was at the start.
Right.
And there was an emphasis on shoulder season.
Okay.
I think when it was established in March, mid-March, it's the borderline of that. But I think probably overall it's better to retain the garden show as a major event if you can. If in fact that's possible, yeah.
Thanks, Helen. Just because of your wealth of experience,
Thank you.
I have a question. That there's 2 festivals. There's the Ice Fest and the Arts Fest that are every second year.
Yes.
Do you think that would be feasible for Ellerslie in your view?
Yes. Look, that's I've probably got there's 2 other things I probably wanted to say. You could look at doing it every second year if that works, and I do think we had a disconnect between councillors and staff in Ellerslie's development. I remember ringing up event staff member and saying, why did we drop Jenny Gillies? And I was told it was too expensive. Now, I know she's back, but I just think feedback that councillors have should be much more linked into the events team. Yeah, so I think if you work more closely together on this festival, I think it's healthier, because everyone gets lots of feedback. And so if that feedback goes directly to the events team, we had some issues in it not going directly. We didn't seem to be able to influence it. Okay, so yeah, but that's historic, but yeah.
Yeah, hi Helen. Going back to the original purchase of the show, did
Yes.
councillors cite the management contract at the time?
I can't recall if we cited it. I recall us being briefed on it.
What's your recollection of that?
I think you'd have to ask me something specific on it, actually, and it may not be appropriate in the open meeting. But we were aware there was a management contract. We were briefed on it. Whether we actually cited it, I cannot recall.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, I think, I've always had the view that we often tend to be over-optimistic in our approach to a range of issues. And I do think we were aware that we would bear the cost if it didn't work, but there were probably all sorts of predictions that it was going to be viable and there would be no cost to council. So I think
Were you
those...
aware that that cost was kind of open-ended?
Sorry?
Were you aware that that cost was open-ended?
That it would continue?
No, that it was open-ended and that you underwrote it.
Yes.
You were, so
Yes.
you-
But we would have had predictions saying, look, there won't be a problem. It's that sort of prediction, saying, look, we know that's there, but don't worry, we have every anticipation that it will break even, if not make a profit. And it did the first year. Yeah.
Thanks, Helen.
Yeah.
Had you been given any other options as opposed to just this particular management company and the Ellerslie Flower Show, was there any local event organisers that gave you a proposal that would actually deliver the same result? And if so, why wasn't that actually taken up?
No, it came in, as I said, because we'd struggled to get a garden show off the ground. Then there was an election and a new mayor, and then suddenly this proposal came in. It came in out of left field. There were no other... It wasn't though this was being carefully thought of and submissions coming in.
Actually,
From
my
others.
understanding is there was a local person that did submit. They spent a considerable amount of money putting a proposal together, and it was overridden by the Ellerslie Flower Show.
I don't know if it was tabled with councillors or in fact not. I can't recall it, but it may have been. It was 2007. There was the election, and then about 2 months after that, this proposal came in. Okay.
Are you aware, Helen, that some of the changes by government on councils in the LGA have been caused by events, and one of the main, actually, it can be attributed mainly to the Hamilton V8 sign-up, which cost that council millions of dollars without a contract, let alone citing a contract. Are you aware of LGA changes brought about by that?
No, not totally clear on it. I'm aware that they did change the focus of council. I'm aware that this council previously was concerned about would that affect events, and I did understand that from the Minister of Local Government at the time that events were seen as okay. Now, I guess this is an issue of do you have an event at a loss? Yes, I spoke, but haven't really thought about that. And I guess I'm just coming to you to say just be aware of the history when you come to look at whether to continue this event. Thank you. Good, thank you.